Netflix is following the Disney strategy of giving warning labels to their media. You want to watch a movie? Well, they'll tell you why maybe you shouldn't do so, even if it's rated G. You won't believe what they're doing with Gone with the Wind and the label that they have given it, basically saying, if you watch this, you're offensive to us as well. It's a great day. It's a groovy day. Thank you, folks, for coming our way, and welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we keep you ahead of the culture curve. Explaining entertainment is what we do with a zeal that even the Holly Weirds can feel. As we dive in, click that like button, share, subscribe, and click it. Stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. You know, Gone with the Wind is considered to be a classic of classics. It's a great film. It's an amazing film. And it's one that's been under attack for a very long time. Now, Breitbart is reporting that Netflix is going with the ill-advised Disney strategy of warning viewers before they turn on said film. We saw this with Disney, by the way. Do you remember all that? You'd play Aladdin and it would say, "We apologize for the negative depictions and stereotypes. They were unkind then, they were inappropriate back in the day, and they still are now." Well, here we go with Netflix. John Nolte writes, Netflix smears Gone with the Wind as racist. Here's the kicker. It refers viewers to Black Lives Matter, which of course we know is a political organization. The statement that is made by the name of the organization is obvious. I mean, everybody knows that all lives matter, and Black Lives Matter, and Brown Lives Matter. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to make any kind of statement with that pronouncement. I'm just trying to say that what has happened here is they've taken a title that seems obvious and then transform that into a political organization so that then you get the idea. It puts you into a quandary on how you tackle it.
Dare I say a notoriously corrupt political organization?
In which most of the funds were used to apparently purchase residences for the leaders?
Yeah.
Mansions.
But read what this says, folks. This will just blow your mind.
It says, if you look for the 1939 masterpiece, Gone with the Wind, on Netflix, you'll be smacked across the face as a racist and scolded into seeking out the far left-wing radicals in BLM. It says, here's the blurb, Gone with the Wind, 1939, rated G. Just sit on that for a minute, okay? We're gonna pummel something rated G. A 1939 American Civil War epic known for its racism. Well, have fun watching that. To learn more about Black Lives Matter in America, search, quote, Black Lives Matter, unquote. Lou, before we go any further, this has to be a mistake that, like, an intern activist has done this, and surely this is not real. I mean,
it's real, and don't call me Shirley.
But Lou, this cannot be.
The idea that they have no systems in place to monitor this stuff that their junior birdmen do, if that's who did it, says something about upper management there that I've said for a long time,
Right. I mean, this is just silly. It says, does Gone with the Wind traffic and stereotypes? Yes, to a degree. But not just of black people. Still, you have to be a simple-minded reactionary to dismiss one of the greatest movies ever made as known for its racism. What's more, you have to be a racist yourself, says the article, to refer anyone to the type of group as BLM. It says Gone with the Wind stereotypes two of its black characters. Gone with the Wind also stereotypes white Northerners as evil marauders or slimy carpetbaggers. And there is no nuanced, independent-minded, and sympathetic mammy character to add any kind of complexity to those evil, predatory white Yankees. What's more, the movie's protagonist, Scarlett O'Hara, is at times a deeply unsympathetic character, a selfish, vain, husband-stealing user and conniver. Her flaws and virtues are what make her one of the all-time great characters in American storytelling. And says this is how dumb some people are. Says it's not about the Civil War. It's not about slavery. It's not even about the Old South. It is the trappings to tell a story about surviving the Depression as your way of life vanishes, something tens of millions of Americans were dealing with in 1939 and had been dealing with for 10 years since the crash of 29. So there you go, folks. They put a warning label on Gone with the Wind, and it's the actual label itself that's so flat out incredible. Lou, if we imagine this from the other side, imagine if there was a film, I don't know, let's say it's actually a cartoon. Let's say you turned on Bluey, a little cartoon dog, and before you turned it on, it said, this show is a show about Australian blue heelers, and it's actually about the patriarchy and how nuclear families are inappropriately better than all other families. For more information, go to GLAAD, GLAAD.
That's the one I thought you were going to say.
Yes. So, Lou, that would be equally ludicrous We're not on the side of being partisan here. We're on the side of the mainstream middle, the sensible center. We're arguing, get out of this crazy stuff from both sides and just come to sensibilities.
And Hattie McDaniel, who you see there, paid for her family and her kids to go to college from working in the movies. But there are people who want her and Stephen Fetchit and Rochester, James Baker. Certainly, they want them not to have worked at all. Is that what their plan is, to help people? Is to say, well, because of your color, you should be banned from the movies? Is that really where they want to go? I tell you.
Well, let's talk. So Nick Stewart was the voice of Brer Bear in Song of the South, and we interviewed his daughter in the first year of the program. And he took on some of these roles that were a little bit obviously stereotypical at the time. Those were the jobs he could have. And he took some of those roles and he started the Ebony Theater in Los Angeles, which was the launching board for so many black actors. And to my knowledge, Hattie McDaniel was closely associated with all of this and was a big participant.
By the way, Mako, great Japanese actor, started East West Players, same idea.
And so these movies are, black history is, you can't separate it from this, because these movies they pushed the edge of what society was sometimes willing to do, like Song of the South featuring Hattie McDaniel, her winning these awards, and James Baskett playing Uncle Remus in Song of the South and winning, a lifetime, forever Oscar achievement, one of only 2 that was ever given. These are also the films that led to these black actors literally taking every dollar they made, essentially, and pouring it back, investing it back into making progress and giving other black actors opportunities. So it's amazing to me that we've decided to boil this down now to, what's the description of this movie? Racism. Why? Because some ninny crazy kid out of a liberal arts college who studied gender studies and got an internship at Netflix decided to type it in and hit enter, and nobody watched and said, stop it, you.
Well, and in light of our previous story, what if Netflix had wound up owning Warner Brothers and Paramount and all the rest of it that they wanted? How would we feel now?
Right, exactly. Lauren, your thoughts on the situation here with Gone with the Wind, and I guess the very simple-minded, unnuanced explanation of this. It reads as propaganda, of course, and that's really what it is. Fox News is covering this. It says resurfaced Netflix description of Gone with the Wind as being known for its racism sparks online uproar. Your thoughts on this, Lauren?
Yeah, I think you pretty much already covered everything that I would say. The only thing that I would add to these people that I'm betting added this description without ever having seen the movie is the same thing that I said the other night if Christopher Nolan was trolling us. Read a book. Learn something about the past. Understand that the utopia that you envision, one, is an impossibility based on the policies that you would implement. But secondly, that all progress is made through progress. If you're a progressive, you have to understand that means that you start at one place and you end up at a different destination that is hopefully better, and that requires incremental change. That movie and these movies that we're talking about are part of what led to that incremental change. These people were recognized for their efforts. They won awards. They won hearts and minds at the movie theater and on TV when these things were rebroadcast, that allowed society to realize maybe some of my preconceived notions were not correct, and that allowed society to correct some of the ills of the past. That is a good thing. You may want to be able to say, well, we don't like the idea of having a stereotypical role in a movie. Well, back then, you're not going to have the progressive values that you have today represented as a fully realized three-dimensional character of today's era, because that's not how things were. It's just not. History may be inconvenient to you, but it is true. And if you erase it, it's actually going to lead to very bad things. It is important to know your history so you can know where we came from, what things were bad, how we overcame them, and that it is a process. If you don't understand that progress is a process, then you're not really a progressive.
Worse. Right. And you're going to buy the lie that groups like Black Lives Matter sell you that, hey, in one fell swoop, we can change the world. Now just give us your money.
Yeah, and that's always the solution. It's always your money. That's always the solution. That's how it'll be fixed. You just trust them, folks. Anybody who tells you, the solution, the way that we'll fix the world, Donations, please. We would love your donations. That we'll fix it. Here's the other thing I would say. Sanitizing is never a great idea because when you sanitize the past, you can't learn from the past. And Christian Toto at the HollywoodandToto.com website, bookmark it, folks, has this to say, and I think it's great. And it's a great way to give the kind of nuance that Netflix has failed. It says, Netflix's Gone with the Wind page features a terse description of the beloved film, a title attacked in recent films for its archaic perspective on slavery. It says, no, it's not remotely close to, quote, Birth of a Nation, a film with profoundly racist content. Still, Gone with the Wind doesn't excoriate the peculiar institution like a film made today would. That explains partly the Netflix descriptor on the title. Now, the reason I read this is because this is really important to know. We are not saying that racism is missing from all old films. That is definitively not true. What we're saying is Gone with the Wind is probably not a participant in that. As Christian Toto is outlining, Birth of a Nation does have that in it, and we do say that that's not okay, although you probably still should watch it so that you can know what that looks like and say, wow, that is inappropriate. We should not do that. And same thing with Disney. Not Song of the South. Fantasia. Most people have never seen the unedited full Fantasia. It's almost impossible to find it. There is a segment in Fantasia that is unbelievably inappropriate and should be not shown by Disney, except for educational purposes, because it really is. It is just too much. So we're not trying to sugarcoat it. We're not trying to whitewash it. We're not trying to say this never happened. We're trying to say, folks, don't erase history, warts and all. We need to know this stuff, and we don't need to be so basic, so childish, so naive as to just label things like Song of the South as, well, this movie is racism. That'll do it. No, that is not at all sufficient, and it's still a classic and incredible film. Lou, I'll give you the final word on it.
Oh, well, let's take it all back to our first story. With using contemporary dialogue and contemporary modern style to tell a classic story, it's the same kind of blindness that does stuff like this. And by the way, for those who don't know, Birth of a Nation is the story of the creation of the Ku Klux Klan. Why would certain people nowadays not want you to know about that? End of story.
End of story. But I'll tell you this, folks. Be kind to everybody out there, even if they're misled, even if they're misguided. And remember, if you're being mean or you're judging people based on the color of their skin or ethnicity, that is the lowest resolution thinking that you could possibly have. Treat everybody as an individual, because it turns out they just might be one, because you, well, certainly are. And maybe you and them together, you might be stars of your own play, even independent of how it is you came into this world. Take care of all God's babies. You know, we've reached the end yet again. But ladies and gentlemen, we've had fun today, have we not? And until the next time we get to do so yet again, be a friend to the channel. Click that like button. Share your thoughts in the dialogue down below. And if you're not yet subscribed, well, we need you right here on Team Pro. Until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.